James Walker stared at the towering glass building in the heart of the city, his hands deep in his pockets, his worn briefcase dangling at his side. The reflection of the sun glinted off the CEO's office at the top floor, and for a moment he let himself imagine stepping through those doors and walking straight into a new life. He had come a long way since his wife had passed away, leaving him to raise little Emily alone. Every morning had been a battle, coffee in one hand, lunch packed in the other, homework supervised on the kitchen table before racing to work. But today was different. Today he was going to finally prove that he belonged in a world that seemed to dismiss men like him, hard-working, capable and determined, but labeled overwhelmed single dads by society. He walked through the revolving doors of the company, straight into the pristine lobby, where marble floors gleamed and the hum of ambition buzzed in the air. A young receptionist barely looked up from her tablet as he approached, offering a polite but detached "Good morning. How may I help you?" He swallowed hard and introduced himself, announcing the reason for his visit. The receptionist typed something into the screen, frowned slightly and told him to wait. James found a seat, trying not to fidget, his mind racing over the interview questions he had rehearsed all week, the resume he had meticulously crafted, and the countless night shifts he had worked just to keep Emily's future secure. Minutes stretched into what felt like hours, and finally a door opened. A sharply dressed HR manager appeared, her expression polite but distant. "James Walker?" she asked. He nodded, standing quickly, briefcase in hand. She motioned him into a sleek conference room, walls lined with glossy certificates and awards that spoke of decades of success. The air smelled faintly of coffee and new leather chairs, a stark contrast to the chaos of his own tiny apartment. The HR manager offered a seat and began with the standard questions: previous experience, technical skills, career goals. James answered confidently, detailing his years in operations, his problem-solving skills, and his leadership of a small but effective team at his previous job. He tried to convey not just competence, but resilience, resourcefulness, and commitment, the qualities he knew were forged in the crucible of raising a child alone. But as the minutes passed, the tone shifted. The HR manager's polite interest gave way to subtle skepticism. "Mr. Walker, your experience is impressive," she said carefully. "But I must be honest, this position is demanding. We're looking for someone who can dedicate themselves entirely to the role. It's full-time commitment with unpredictable hours. Do you think you'll be able to manage that with your parental responsibilities?" James felt a sting. He had expected questions about his work, his skills, maybe his ambitions, but not his life outside the office. He took a deep breath. "I understand your concern," he replied evenly, "but I want to assure you, my responsibilities at home have taught me time management, multitasking, and prioritization in ways few jobs could. I am fully committed to excelling." Here, the HR manager's expression softened slightly, but the doubt lingered. "I appreciate that, Mr. Walker," she said. "We'll be in touch." James left the building with a heavy heart. The rejection, or what felt like rejection, burned in his chest. As he walked back down the crowded streets, he replayed the conversation, wondering if he had said something wrong, if his life as a single dad would always be a barrier. And yet a flicker of determination stayed with him. He refused to believe that being a parent made him less capable. If anything, it made him sharper, faster, and more creative. As he reached the subway station, his phone buzzed. It was a message from Emily. "Good luck, Daddy. I know you'll be amazing." He smiled despite himself, her faith reigniting the fire inside him. That evening, James returned to his modest apartment, balancing a dinner of takeout with homework sessions, bedtime routines, and the never-ending rhythm of laundry and bills. Just as he was tucking Emily in, his phone rang. It was an unknown number, but something compelled him to answer. "Mr. Walker?" a voice asked on the other end. "This is Jennifer Clark, CEO of Clarion Tech. I understand you had an interview with our company today. I'd like to invite you back for a private meeting." James's heart skipped a beat. A second chance? He could hardly believe it, but he didn't waste a moment. Absolutely, he said, barely able to contain his excitement. I'll be there. The next morning, James dressed carefully, choosing a suit that had seen better days, but was pressed and neat. He took Emily's hand, kissed her forehead, and promised he'd be back soon. As he entered the building again, he felt a surge of adrenaline. This was no longer a standard interview. This was an opportunity to prove that his skills, his experience, and yes, even his life as a single parent, were assets, not liabilities. He was led to a sleek elevator that shot him to the top floor. The CEO's office was vast, floor-to-ceiling windows offering a breathtaking view of the city skyline. Jennifer Clark, a formidable woman in her 40s with an air of authority and sharp intelligence, greeted him. "Mr. Walker, thank you for coming," she said, her tone crisp but welcoming. "I want to be up front. Today isn't a typical interview. We have a critical problem in our operations that has stumped our team for months. If you can solve it, even partially, you'll demonstrate the capability we're looking for." James nodded, his pulse quickening. "I understand. Ms. Clark, I'll do my best." He was led to a conference room where screens displayed complex, operational data, charts and graphs. The problem was intricate, a logistical bottleneck in their supply chain that had caused delays, increased costs and frustrated clients. Executives had tried everything, yet no solution seemed to work. James studied the data, his mind racing. Hours of experience running small teams, managing unexpected crises, and juggling responsibilities had trained him to think fast, spot patterns, and cut through noise. He noticed something that others had overlooked, a minor scheduling conflict that created a cascading effect through the entire supply chain. With a few quick calculations, he proposed a solution that required minimal cost and reorganization. If we adjust the routing sequence and shift delivery priorities slightly, he explained confidently, we can eliminate the bottleneck entirely without additional resources. The room fell silent. The executives exchanged incredulous glances. Jennifer Clark leaned forward, eyes narrowing, then widened in astonishment. "You just solved a problem that has cost this company thousands of dollars and weeks of delays," she said. "In seconds," James shrugged modestly. "Sometimes it's about looking at the system from a different angle and not overcomplicating things." She studied him carefully, a small smile forming. "Mr. Walker, I think we've underestimated you. It seems we were too quick to judge based on assumptions. Would you like to join our team?" James's chest swelled with pride and relief. He had been doubted, dismissed, even rejected, but now, in one moment, he had turned skepticism into opportunity. As he left the building later that day, job offer in hand, he couldn't wait to tell Emily. He realized that being a single dad hadn't held him back. It had given him the tools to excel when it mattered most. The city lights sparkled like stars as he walked home. A man vindicated, empowered, and ready to embrace the future he had fought so hard to secure. And little did he know, this was just the beginning of a journey that would challenge him, test his ingenuity, and prove that sometimes the greatest strength comes not from credentials or titles, but from the heart, resilience, and determination of a parent who refuses to give up.